Welcome to New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.
What's good, everybody? Happy Thursday. A happy opening day to you for baseball, for those of you who were able to actually watch some games, because MLB dropped the ball there. That's another story for another day. Dexter, Bryan, Fonseca here on New York Got Game, Knicks Weekly Live. Coming to you talking about the Knicks, who have started off this week 1-1. Lost last night to the Los Angeles Clippers. So, we'll see where the Knicks are. I did not think I wasn't as concerned about this game as maybe some other people were. It wasn't a big alarm. It was like, okay, back to back. And then you lost campaign and they hunted Tyler Kolek. Kind of was what it was. But some of y'all gonna be mad about everything. We see this every week here. But yeah, a lot to talk about with the Knicks. Knicks have 10 games to go. I can't believe we are here already. 10 games to go in this season. So we're going to evaluate where the Knicks are for the rest of the season. We're going to talk about it. We have our guest joining us in about 12 minutes or so. Jarod Hector of TrueHoop will be joining us to talk down, one of our favorite people to talk basketball with. You've seen him a lot with me on the New York Post platform. You've seen him with Bryan multiple times on his YouTube channel, what he does. So you've also seen him with us back in the day, Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. We've been on a lot of stuff together. So this will be fun. Jarod usually brings the nuance. Bryan, how are you doing?
Probably better than the Knicks is the easy answer. We're going to talk about a lot on this show, including Tyler John Kolek. I feel like the middle name there works, so we can go.
Tyler John. I did not know the middle name. Tyler John. It's funny. I just realized something. I don't know your middle name. We do not have to tell the people, but you can tell. You can tell me another time.
Luis, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that tracks.
So if I was like a WWE wrestler, they would use that as my last name so they could trademark it, but they would spell it differently.
Brian Luis.
Yeah.
There we go.
That would be the last name. But Tyler John Kolek, who does not go by TJ Kolek, which I think is a missed opportunity. But also TJ's kind of overused now, so it's fine. You mentioned him. We'll get into Mitchell Robinson. I know people have concerns about that. I think, to me, and I want to see what you think about this, the biggest concern that I had was how easily it felt like the Clippers, particularly in the fourth quarter, were getting downhill and just getting shots that they wanted from two. Like the Knicks shot well from three, really in the game, but late in the game as well. But they when it came down to, can you get what you want at the rim, the Clippers were able to do that more successfully. Like Ivica Zubac was able to get some dunks, and
he hit himself in game.
Yeah, 7 in the fourth quarter, but overall finished with 18 and 10. The Clippers got Norman Powell back. He was out for a while. He played well. They were very efficient. Both teams were hyper efficient offensively, but it felt like the Clippers could get more of what they wanted. I don't know. Am I off in that? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing, this is, our colleague Stephen Bondi said this, and I'm just looking at something with the stats because I was just trying to check the minutes that Mitchell Robinson had before I made my point. But our colleague Stephen Bondi had made this point, and I think with him, a lot of it was the fact that with this Knicks team, this was a team that was playing on the second night of a back-to-back, and this was a Clippers team that had 2 days off. So they came out slow in the first quarter, right? The Knicks have a 13-point lead. Then the Clippers, who are a good defensive team, tighten things up in the second quarter. The Knicks, as you mentioned, pretty efficient offensively. I think if you look at this game, you got to like what you saw from Karl-Anthony Towns. Had a pretty efficient offensive game, not so much defensively. You had Mikal Bridges had himself a solid game. OG Anunoby was solid in this game. All the starters were really good. Josh Hart started off good and then was not in terms of offense. And then I think what happens when you look at how easily they were able to get stuff, Bryan, to that point, you really have to look at the third quarter. The third quarter was where the game changed. When Tyler Kolek, who we're going to get into this with Mr. Kolek when we talk to Jarod, and a lot of y'all been asking for asking for minutes for him. When he got in the game, which, let me be clear, Tyler Kolek has played very well in the last 3 games in terms of dishing the ball, which he's elite at already. 24 assists, 1 turnover in the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Okay?
Not less than 20 minutes in all 3 of those games.
Right. That's really, really good. However, the things he has to work on in this game, and obviously because he's a rookie, I'm not killing him for this. He's got to work on the shot creation and hitting the shot. Missed 2 free throws last night. Also has to work on defense. What did the Clippers do immediately when he came in the game? They hunted him. And over and over. And I said it. I was sitting next to Jared Schwartz at the game. I said, look, they're hunting him over and over, as they should. Smart teams are going to do this. Ty Lue is a very smart coach. He does this. I'm not killing Tyler Kolek. He's a rookie. Playing NBA defense as a rookie is hard at the point of attack. It is hard when you got to guard James Harden and or Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. Ask somebody to do that as a rookie. Not easy. Not many people can handle that, okay? So we got to put things in context here. That's where the game changed. And you listen, Campaign was out with an injury, right? That's where the game really changed. And this, somebody says early in the second quarter, yes, the Clippers made the run, but the Knicks were still in the game in the third quarter. And this is where the Clippers really pulled away. The Clippers got back in the game in the second quarter. I wouldn't say the game changed in the second quarter. They got back into the game. In the third quarter, they started hunting Kolek, and the Knicks had to go to, who they have to go to back him up? DeLon Wright. Then what are you getting offensively? DeLon Wright, who's a good defender, what are you getting offensively?
You can't combine Tyler Kolek and DeLon Wright, unfortunately.
Right. At that point, you're out of bodies. What are you expecting? Like, I'm not – the loss to the Clippers when the Knicks were pretty efficient offensively, I'm not tripping over this loss on the second night of a back-to-back. If some of y'all are, I get it. Some people just have to be angry. I don't think this is the loss when you look at this in the context of what happened. Losing Campaign, having to play Tyler Kolek more minutes than you probably expected, and him getting hunted. Mitchell Robinson, who was not good last night, was terrible last night.
His worst game, just coming back.
Like, if you want to tell me that's your concern in the game, I get that.
Sure.
Mitchell Robinson was one of his worst games since he came back.
Yeah.
He looked lifeless. He got out hustled by Zubac over and over again.
Zubac is nice this season. Like, by the way,
no,
like,
Zubac is a fringe all-star this season.
No, seriously. And Knick fans, I know, like TJ Warren, Kevin McCullough Jr., like we've talked about these. This is it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever answers this team needs to find, it's going to have to come from on their roster. It's not going to be in the G League. It might not be at the end of their bench, but they have to try to find it. So
now here's a point that somebody's making in the chat that and our guest who's coming on, Jarod Hector, I know he's very much of this school of thought. We are in the same school of thought of this. East Blue Drew said here, shout out to East Blue Drew, appreciate you watching. He said, this is why I said play your rookies early in the season, so then you don't have to worry about the end of the season. Now you got to play them. This has been the criticism for Tom Thibodeau that I have had.
Yeah.
Not the minutes police and people saying that he wears guys down, which is actually factually proven to not be true, right? Like, it's literally not true.
I think, but I do think some of y'all got to be careful with, because you, Ian, Bondi, like kind of like going at the minutes police. And I'm like, listen, if OG Anunoby tweaks something in the playoffs, the minutes police is going to come for y'all too now.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
No. First of all, we're off minutes police. We're calling minutes Karens. That's what we're doing now. We're off that. That's dead. That's last week. We're not doing that no more, right? And we're not out here See, this is where I feel like fans get too sensitive. We're not defending Thibs. I've been critical of Thibs to the point that East Blue Drew brought up that I agree with him on, right? We're just saying when you look at the data, where are the soft tissue injuries that you guys are talking about? They don't exist. Like this, y'all talking about Santa Claus. What are we doing here?
I'd love to hear what Gerard has to say about this.
No. Here's the thing. Gerard, when he comes on, Gerard knows that wear and tear matters. I'm a believer in that. I believe in the science, right? All I'm saying is the data does support this is not the case with Tibbs. The injuries that they had last year in the playoffs, where's the soft tissue injuries that occurred? Where are they?
I don't even remember what all the injuries were. I got to legitimately go back because there were so many.
Julius Randle got thrown down by your boy.
Right. I forgot Julius Randle was on the team. That's right. That was the thing that happened.
Right. OG Anunoby had a freak elbow injury. right? That's nothing to do with wear and tear.
An injury
Nothing.
he's had in the past, but
Right.
yes.
So what that nothing to do with wear and tear.
A re-aggravation.
Right.
I also don't think I don't know if every injury is quantifiable in that way. Like I don't know if you can look at every single injury and be like wear and tear. Where like Juju Watkins, for example, who tore her
Right.
ACL, which is the saddest sports story of the week, outside of maybe this weird feud between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. But Juju
It's
Watkins,
sad that people care about that. That's what's sad. But that's
Juju Watkins, I may or may not have a YouTube video coming out on that soon. Juju Watkins tears her ACL. Some people might say that is a wear and tear injury because of how hard she plays, and other people will be like, "Oh, it's a freak injury." And I don't know what the answer is there. I have theories, but I don't know what the actual answer is there.
My theories go more to that when people talk about injuries in basketball, people ignore what comes before the NBA. They ignore the AAU stuff, that too many kids are playing basketball and have these soft tissue injuries because they're playing too much in the AAU circuit. Everybody ignores that, and that's like the problems in the NBA. The problem's way before that. It's way before that. It's way before you even get to the NBA, right?
But the NBA probably has its problems too, because a lot of this is also like they do so much to limit.
I'm a proponent of shortening the season, which Gerard Hector, our guest, is too. I'm a big proponent of this.
Teams don't practice like they used to. People forget about this all the time. And the theory is actually that limiting practice limits like contact, limits like the potential for injury. But in reality, what some people think in the NBA would tell you is like, no, because they don't practice, their muscles are not getting used to the contact and are getting injured more often because they're actually like not, I guess, in season the way that they would be. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, guys were practicing all the time and it felt like injuries weren't as frequent. This is a larger thing now.
But I think it wasn't as frequent because guys weren't playing as much basketball when they were younger, right? They weren't playing in all these AAU games, all this travel stuff when they were younger, when your body is still growing and developing. And this is why you're seeing younger players, even younger, tear their ACLs because there's more wear and tear in them before they even become professionals. That's my point.
And less multi-sport athletes.
Well, that's another thing. And
which I think is part of it.
And if you look at science and you talk to anybody who studies sports medicine, they will tell you that kids, I've talked to people who study this, they're like, kids that young should only be playing this amount of hours and not playing across various sports like that. But we do because it's America and there's so much money to be made in youth sports and they're greedy and they don't care about these kids. And then everybody wants to be mad at when they try to load manage the NBA. The players don't want to load manage. That's a whole
a lot of it is organizational. Donovan Mitchell is 6'1" and doesn't get hurt that often. And he played baseball also growing up. You know what I mean? Like multi-sport athlete. Anyways,
we're going to bring in our guest who I know will have a lot to say to this. He is my good friend from TrueHoop, the fantastic Jarod Hector. Joins us now. The only thing I ever dislike about Gerard is the fact that he roots for the wrong football team in Real Madrid, who I have no love for. But Gerard,
I'm good, but tell me how Liverpool's doing in the Champions League. Oh, that's right. Y'all got knocked out.
Excuse me. My fault. Excuse me. Y'all don't even know if you're still gonna win your league.
My fault, B. My fault.
See, this guy can't have nothing. This guy can't have nothing nice.
So wait, my guy, and by the way, always good to be on with you, Dex, Bryan, my guys. So I'm a minutes police Karen now. Is that who I am? I am now a minutes. That's the deal?
No. You are, and I will let people let you speak on this more, but I would let people know Gerard is somebody who I've talked to a ton about minutes. We've talked about this on other stuff. We believe in the science. Just to be clear, we ain't out here ignoring the science, right? Gerard and I also a very common point, which East Blue Drew brought up. Play your young guys early in the season, even if you can against lesser competition. So in case you have injuries, they can be better prepared. That's the problem where I've always been critical with Tom Thibodeau. That's been my thing, right?
Yeah.
You can get guys ready because injuries are going to happen. You cannot predict when they're going to happen. That's it. By the way, Crim's dad, you said we're talking about the wrong football.
No, we were talking about the right football.
We're talking about the right football, sir.
I'm going to my first European soccer game
Hey,
this
I
weekend.
know you are. I know you are.
Going
Can't
to the
wait hear about
Sevilla
it.
Derby, baby.
Listen. Be careful out there in them streets, bro. People serious. All right. We'll talk offline about what you got to have in your pockets to make sense. No, but so look, injuries are a funny thing, right? Because I think when you're a fan, you always want it to be a this caused this, right? You want a cause effect. You want something simple. And the reality is not always that simple. Yes, somebody gets knocked into somebody else and lands whatever. And yes, that's an easy one to see, a contact injury. The non-contact ones are tougher to determine, well, what is the actual cause of this? And Dexter, you mentioned soft tissue injuries. That is one way in which minutes can expose themselves in soft tissue injuries. The other thing about extensive minutes is that the way everyone has a way in which they move, every athlete, every person, you move us a specific kind of way. The more tired you are, the less optimal that movement is, right? And when you play heavy minutes, it just gets worse and worse and worse. What does that mean? How you take off, how you land, right? All these various things. And so those may not necessarily be a soft tissue injury. You may just land and it's like, oh, something feels weird. You go back, now you got a meniscus issue, right? And it's like, it isn't about the contact. It's about the amount of minutes that this person has played has caused their movement to be suboptimal than what it normally is. And because of that, they took off wrong. They landed wrong. They planted wrong. All the various things you need when you're playing basketball, right? So it's always a lot of things. There's never one specific thing. It's always multiple things. Now, to the point about Tibbs and his guys, yeah. I mean, as I always say, you guys know, if you got a 15-man roster, I mean, if you're not going 10, 11 deep, then what the hell's the point of having these people on the roster earning paychecks? Play them. And you got to play them early in the season. Not now. You got 10 games left. What you going to learn now?
Right.
You have no sample size. 10 games means nothing. That is zero sample size to give you anything you need to get ready for the playoffs. The time to be doing this was game 1, game 10, game 20, game 30, not game 72. So, you had a rundown for the show. What can the Knicks learn about? Nothing. All right. There's nothing nothing, because you have 10 games. There is nothing you can do. It's 10 games, my guy. Who you got?
Well, okay. This is what I think the fans are going to want to know, Gerard, though, right? Because you're right. I agree with you completely. You're not. I know somebody out there is going to say, well, Dex, in the last 3 games, you've seen Tyler Kolek out there, right? And have you learned something from him?
Yeah, I learned something.
Yeah, I've learned something. I've learned Tyler Kolek can pass. You know what else I learned? You could have played him early in the season.
For sure.
Right? You could have done that against some lesser opponents, which is all I have been saying. Bryan, have I not been saying this entire season?
Yes, and
the whole season.
I also want to add, though, like with Tyler Kolek, he's the guy that other teams are going to look at and be like, all right, let's get him in a one-on-one.
Well, there you go. I love him as a long-term potential backup prospect for the backup playmaker for this team.
I agree.
You mentioned before his assist turnover ratio, money, elite already at this young stage. You can't teach that stuff. He's a bad offensive player beyond the passing, like bad in terms of shooting, spacing, and all that, right? Number one, knowing when to cut, knowing when to move. In the playoffs, that's a problem, right? You can't be getting in Jalen Brunson's way, or you can't be getting in Cat's way, or whatever the situation may be. 2, as you guys mentioned, he is abhorrent on defense. And they will, you guys know what the playoffs are about, man. The playoffs is
matchup
Darwinian in its most primal sense, right? These guys are predators, and they're like, who is the weak link? Meat. And they line up to get that person lined up to get cooked one-on-one to force the other team. Well, you got a choice now. Keep him on the floor. We're going to go at him every single time. You can't play that guy. You just can't do it. Not in the playoffs where every possession matters.
And if you're going to play that guy, they have to knock down shots like a Peyton Pritchard.
And he doesn't knock down shots like Peyton Pritchard's like 43% from 3. He ain't that.
But the reason why Boston can get away with it also is because, one, he's had playoff moments. I'm saying in the playoffs, he's had times where he's knocked down shots, but also they can yank him because they have other guys they can go to, and they could also hide him because you could surround him with 4 high-level defenders.
Elite.
This team does not have that. Not as a collective. They don't.
Right. And that's the difference. Now, there's an argument, and I think this is kind of East Blue Drew's point and my point and Gerard's point. Well, maybe, I don't know how much better of a defender Tyler Kolek could have got from game 1 or game 10.
Oh, he would have gotten better for sure.
Right.
If he played he would have gotten better.
Because he'd been put in these situations. And somebody's going to say, well, Tyler Kolek's played in the G League. That's not the same as playing in the NBA. The reason it's a different league.
The G League, I said it last week, the G League is worse now than it's been in a while. It's like Bronny James, no disrespect, but he got almost 40. And like you see some of the numbers that like I think Drew Timme with the Long Island Nets is going crazy in the G League.
Just put up 39 the other day.
And also
crazy.
That's not real basketball in the sense that guys are trying to get there so they can get the call up, right? So it's a whole lot of jocking one-on-one. Like it's just look, again, I like Kolek and I think he is a nice long-term fit for this team. Where y'all want to go as a squad, as an organization, he cannot play meaningful minutes if you think you're getting to a conference finals, because it ain't gonna happen.
Not this season.
Not this season. Right. That's what I'm saying. Not this season. Do I think he should be given a shot at the backup role next season?
For
Absolutely. Sure. Depending on what, no, let me say that. Depending on the development you could possibly see from him through the summer and beyond. Yes, I think he should get a shot.
He should be able to compete for the backup job in camp.
Yeah, I would think so. Shout out to everybody who was watching and commenting in the chat. We appreciate you, Crim's Dad, East Blue Drew, Robert Rivera. We see you all.
Crim's Dad asked if Liverpool is going to draft Cam Ward. I don't know if you saw that.
Listen, man, that's the beauty of world football. Ain't no drafts, only stupid ass things. So, come on, man, drafts.
But except that's Crim's Dad way of telling us he does not care to hear anything about the real football of the world. He does not care about that.
Gerard, can I ask you about Mitchell Robinson? Because he had a terrible game last night.
Yeah, he did. He didn't play well.
But I don't think it's the end of the world there. Do you think too much is going to be put on him given the lack of depth that this team has, like in the playoffs in particular?
I mean, yes. Like Hart was a big part of what y'all did last year. Y'all know that. Knicks fans know that. And not having him is a big deal. Now, I told y'all that you were getting a generational offensive big man in Cat, which he is. And Cat has been excellent for you guys this year. Excellent.
Offensively.
But you know that, right? Cat has limitations defensively. But what he provides you offensively and rebounding is still very good, right? But not having Hart matters, right? And so, it's a little tough. Yo, who crims that Cole in the dork? I mean, you throwing shots in the chat.
Saw that.
Wait, Crim's Dad, you gotta tell us who the dork is. We love you, man, but who's
this is a football versus football conversation. That Crim's Dad is trying to have with I guess us.
And look, is he talking about Dorkosaurus Rex who's in the chat? Okay, I see. Gotcha. Okay, he wasn't calling us.
I was like, damn, it's like
I didn't see that. I didn't see that Dorkosaurus Rex was a name here.
But Dorkosaurus Rex, we also are not calling you a dork. It just happens to be. Oh, he said he calls himself a dork already. God, okay.
Look, the dork. I don't know if you look around, but unfortunately, the dorks are taking over. But anyway, it's another story for another day.
So look, but I think Mitchell. Look, they're going to ask him to do a lot of what Hart did last year, right? And Hart got you guys a ton, and I like to call him Hart because you have Josh Hart. Hartenstein, he got you a lot of offensive rebounds. And what are offensive rebounds? Extra possessions. What matters in the postseason? Possessions. You are trading possessions for points, friends. Possessions matter so much. Who can help you win possessions? Isaiah Hartenstein helps you win lots of possessions. And he's very good at that little float half hook, right? Catch it in the lane. Mitchell Robinson, not so much. If it ain't an alley-oop at the rim, I mean, it's a little tough. A little tough with your man Mitch. So look,
he would say otherwise. Because every summer, he's
he's working on his game. Yeah. That's like who is it? Who's
Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons, Giannis working on his jumper. It's like, look, man, some people you don't have to shoot the skill to do the thing. It's fine. Be good at what you're good at. Elite at what you're elite at.
Y'all know, you guys know how I feel about off-season workout videos. Can't stand them. Can't stand them at all.
Summer season mixtape. That's like, oh boy, get ready. The summer season mixtapes are out.
It's worse than when a boxer says, I'm in the best shape of my life when they're well past their prime.
Except the funny thing about summer season mixtape is there are like the dudes who actually they don't see the thing is they don't put out mixtapes, but you'll see them at like the run, and you're like, oh, I see so and so added something to his game, or they about to be nice. But these are the elites of the elites, right? Mm-hmm. Like they don't put out mixtapes. You come in September, and it's like, oh, they added that to their game. Oh shit, look out.
Kendrick only comes out when it's album time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes you need to keep it like that. Gerard, where are you on this Knicks team though with 10 games to go when you evaluate them? Right? We all agree there's no savior coming here to save some of the issues, although we'll get to the bench in a second. But where are you on this Knicks team with 10 games to go for them in the season?
Look, you're the 3 seed. I like this team. And they're a good basketball team. I think I looked at the most updated ratings, and they are right now smoothed out. Their EPM is 10th adjusted offensive rating and 10th defensive rating. That's good. That's good. And I think at full strength, all things being equal, they're about a top 5 offense, which is very good. Defense, they're about 13th. They're closer to middle of the road, right? Not elite, but hey, the Denver Nuggets were the number 1 offense and one with the number 13 defense. So it can be done, right? Now they also have Nikola Jokic, the world's best player. That helps a ton. But I like them. I think they're good. I know that if you're playing the game of where should they strive to get to me, conference finals would be the next step for them, right? I just think it's going to be a tough road to hoe to get to the conference finals, right? With the roster they have and what you're asking them to do. Because in order to get to the conference finals, they're going to have to beat one of, likely, Boston or Cleveland, and probably Boston. And in a 7-game series, I don't know in any way how you can pick the Knicks over the Boston Celtics. But listen, it's what it is.
I mean, the problem with the injuries is they expose the lack of depth that we've been talking about literally all season long, which is the problem when the team is healthy. So in terms of these depth issues, let's say Jalen Brunson comes back. We expect him to come back. Don't know when, but we expect him to come back.
Oh yeah, I think looking at the end of the month, he might play the last 2 games of the regular season, which will be helpful just to get his win back up and all that stuff.
Yeah, but is the depth just too much to overcome? Because this is the thing that OKC has, that Cleveland has, that Boston has. They can all go 9 deep in the playoffs.
Road to hoe. It's a y'all Knicks fans be wild in the chat.
Y'all doing too much in the chat right
wild
now.
In the chat right now. No, Brian, the depth is really going to be an issue, right? Look, and listen, your first round matchup, y'all might just want to be mindful of who you play in round 1.
I keep saying,
and we'll get to. I know you have that question. That we'll discuss all that. Look,
you could do it right now if you want.
The bottom line is this: you guys know me. I don't believe in basketball gods and sports gods and all this silly shit that fans. I'm sorry, I cursed on here. The silly stuff that fans that fans believe in, right? If you want to get to where you want to get to, you're gonna have to beat good teams. So you do what you do and you play who's in front of you. Let me drop a couple games to get to. Listen, man, the Pacers last year in the postseason beat y'all in 7 games. In 3 of those 7 games, they blew you out, 10 or more points. In Game 7 at MSG, they beat you by damn near 30. Okay, the Knicks had 1 blowout game against them, win at home. Every other game, close. And the Pacers' style of play, the pace at which they move, for a team with depth issues, not what you want, friends. Not what you want. Not ideal. And look, you mess around and say, okay, let me see if we can get the Detroit Pistons, neophytes, they don't know what they're doing. Detroit's 2-0 against you right now in the regular season, so be mindful of that.
No, 2-1.
2-1. And be mindful of this. They are just the kind of team that has the kind of guys, Beef Stewart, etc., who will feel some kind of way that you're like, oh, you wanted to tank to get to us? Cool. We'll see what's up. And I'm just saying, stranger things has happened because with them, they ain't gonna have no pressure. This is a team that won 14 games. They are top 6 seed. They playing with house money all the way.
You know me, Gerard. I do not believe in tanking or trying to avoid playing somebody. I think that's a loser's mentality. I do not believe in that at all whatsoever. You try to get look, it worked for the Knicks last year. Remember, the Knicks were in this spot last year. Everybody's like, oh, you should avoid Philadelphia. They did not, and they went out. They won their 50th game of the year on the last game against Chicago of the season. They get Philly. They beat Philly. They were fine. They probably beat the Pacers if they were healthy. Maybe. But
We had no energy for Game 7. Yes, because you have no depth and they play too fast. That will happen again this year. You have no depth still.
They also had they also had no players too. This as Crim's dad brings up.
Some people might blame that on Tibbs. I think to take it back to the front of this, I would say this about the Pacers: they don't play as fast as last year because they're better defensively. They made the concerted effort to be like, all right, they still top 10 in pace, but their defense is now top 15, whereas last year was in like the bottom 6, 7 for the bulk of the year. It's actually lower than that at different points. So I think that's another thing to watch out for, because they do present a little more versatility, and they'll still play with pace. They just won't do it while sacrificing like all their defense. Now they're still not defensively. They're around where the Knicks are in terms of like tier or whatever the case may be. And you can get a layup line against the Pacers like you could against Karl Anthony Towns. So I think that series is going to be potentially more competitive this year.
Yeah, I don't.
It went 7. How much more competitive can it get?
Yeah.
Well, with a healthy Knicks team, like let's say they don't lose everybody. You know what I mean? Look, and there's people in the chat wanting the Bucks because I would imagine
they got no Dame. I guess.
I guess that's another thing.
If you believe in your team, because this is what I mean by loser mentality. Like a Tibbs coach team is not going out here trying to duck anybody. They're not doing that. That's number one. Number two, players generally don't. Well, I shouldn't say players don't want to do it, because we saw some teams do this last year, and you saw the Cavs do it. And I think that's a loser mentality, right? To go out there and do this. You play to be your best. You want to be healthy at the end of the season, which I've seen other people bring up in the chat. And if you believe your team is what they are, you want to go out and compete. They don't duck in the smoke. What is that? I see so many fans talking about this, and I'm like, do you think you're better than the Pistons? Do you think you're better than the Pacers or Bucks? Then go compete. Climb
all the way up the chimney, as John Moran once said. Don't duck, no smoke. Yeah. I saw Brunson can only take us so far. Listen, that's something very interesting that East True Blue just said. You watch that playoff series very closely against the Pacers. Y'all were living off tough Brunson shots. And listen, that's a way to win. It's not a way that I would advise a team to try to win games consistently, because just as much as you make those shots, you can have a run where like he ain't making them, and now what you gonna do, right? At least you got Cat now, so you have one other offensive creator who can do some stuff. But man, let me tell you, those were, and because Nembhard, one of the best guard defenders in the league, probably gonna make all defense this year, was in his shorts. Those were not clean looks, tough looks. And he was making them. And I'm like, you could easily miss those joints.
I'm laughing because Crim's dad had a
I mean, yes, in a fire, you should duck and smoke. Correct. Yes, because you're trying to breathe. You should crawl on your knees and be below the smoke. Correct.
Crim's dad is out here doing fire safety in the chat. He's like, please make sure you stop, drop, and roll.
But if you are a hooper, you climb up the chimney because you ain't ducking no smoke.
But Gerard, I want to ask you this, because Bryan kind of alluded to this before. Right? If you look at what the Knicks are and your evaluation of them, and they have depth issues, they are not a perfect team, but you're saying they're a very good team. I feel like you and I assess them pretty much the same way. Is there anything between now and the last 10 games they can do to either address those issues or get better?
No. What are they going to do? They're going to all of a
sudden Tyler Kolek and Pacone Dadier.
They're also going to have a motion-based offense now? You can't just all of a sudden install something brand new. You are who you are at this point. This is it. The team that you see is who they are. And look, it's fine. Like, again, they are a good team. They're third. They're not eighth in the play-in. They're a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. They are a good basketball team. They should be favored, and they will be, to win their first-round matchup. And all things go right, they will win their first-round matchup. You know, more than likely. I'm not saying it's going to be some 4-game sweeper easy, but they should win. That second round, likely against the Celtics, unless the Celtics have mass injuries, no chance. They are going down.
No chance.
No chance. That's just the reality of it. The Celtics are just better. They're top to bottom. They are just better.
So let me ask you this kind of before, as we wrap here, because if there's anything to keep your eye on over the last 10 games, and this all depends on who's playing. The Knicks have the Cavs twice, although both times they play them are on the second night of a back-to-back. Bryan has mentioned this for weeks. And then they also have the Celtics as well. We know the Knicks have not beaten either of those teams this season. Is that something for you to watch?
They should have,
in his last 10 games. Can they beat those teams?
They should have 4. There's 4 gimme games that they should win easy in that group of 10, right? Brooklyn. Who else is in there? I don't know. There's 3 other, whatever. I counted
Portland.
4 wins. Portland. That last game against Cleveland will already be locked in Philly. Now that first Cleveland game, because Boston's 5 games behind Cleveland?
Ish, yeah.
So Cleveland still gotta make sure they keep Boston at 2 because Cleveland wants that 1. So Cleveland probably gonna want to win that game. The Bucks want to stay where they are, so they're gonna try to win. Phoenix is in a play-in battle right now. They're 10, so they're gonna play to win, right? So you have a lot of teams in there playing to win. That late game, because the Boston game's late and that second Cavs game is late. Those two, again, Cavs are probably gonna have the 1 seed locked up by then, so they might have their non-starters in. So that's a game you could win. But here's the thing: if it's not going to affect your seeding, Tibbs, do not play the starters in that game. If where you are is set and you can't move up or down, put your guys on the bench and don't play them.
Well, I'll see. Now, here's the thing. If that doesn't occur, and Brian, I see your face. If that does not occur, that will be dumb. And the Minutes Police, who I forgot who in the chat is the captain of Minutes Police, or they're taking you applications.
Minutes Karens now.
Minutes Karens, I forgot. We off that. Minutes Karens. I'll rock with y'all. I'll be with you guys. I'll be with you guys on the cell phone who we need to call, like the Karens like to do. You know what I'm saying?
Let me call your manager. Who is the manager? I'm going to call him right now. No, but look, if they need cardio, give them 15 minutes of cardio, whatever, fine. But my guy, do not play these people into the second half. Please, if you have to.
If it's locked, if the 3 seeds locked, I'm with you, Gerard.
Come on, man.
That's where you cannot play
Start
anybody.
Dottier if
you
that's
can't
the
move
case.
up. You can't do it. And I know people in the chat would agree on all this, and they've been asking for this. But yeah, if the Knicks lock up the 3 seed, you got to play the kids and keep them moving.
Yeah, play the kids.
There's also a tricky game on April 5th in Atlanta, and Atlanta's trying to hold on to that 7 because they want to be home for that
That's
game.
why I didn't count that as a gimme game. So I was like,
there's another one there too of note. So they have some tricky games coming up. Also, East Blue Drew, I want to point out, says in the chat, you see the fact that you have to say that shows we have a problem in terms of, hey, sit the guys if this is locked up. Or
listen, East Blue Drew, you ain't got to tell me, baby. I know y'all got a problem. I've been saying that. I know y'all got a Tibbs problem.
I can't say I disagree because I think there's 2. I just want to address that point because I do think East Blue Drew makes a good point, right? Like I can't disagree that the fact we have to say that is a problem. What we're saying here, to be very clear, is we know the man is stubborn. We can all agree on that.
He's a grinder, man. He's a grinder.
A lot of the grinders
matters. That's
grinders
how he
is. We know that he's stubborn, and would I like to see him change some things that I think could be better for the team and for the fans? Yeah, like I think fans would accept if he played guys earlier in the season. Now, I also think Tom Thibodeau doesn't get credit. Like, remember when a lot of y'all out there were out here part of the Cam Reddish fan club and dying for him to get PT? He just got cut today. I didn't forget that.
Yo, real talk on him so far. Yo, man, Cam, remember in that high school class, Cam was the man.
Mm-hmm.
He was the dude in that class.
There's one dude in particular who I will not name because he sucks. But on Twitter, he was comparing him to Tracy McGrady.
See,
that happened.
People just go too far with stuff, man. You don't got to do all that. But Cam was a lights out shoot. Listen. In this NBA, in these NBAs, in National Basketball Association, I saw Cam Reddish score 41 in a playoff game. Okay? That dude has some skill. I just, for whatever reason, something ain't clicking somewhere. Somebody don't like him. I don't know, man. Like
a lot of dudes in the NBA could score, and a lot of dudes in the NBA are athletic.
In a playoff game, not in a regular season, in a playoff game.
Teams keep waving him, Look, if he shows up on the Wizards next year and averages 15 points a game in just 26 minutes, like, cool, awesome.
I'm going to tell Crim's dad here. He got to stop. He got to stop with the shots at football out here. He said if Tibbs is next year, he may start watching Liverpool. Well, here's the thing: if you do not know, Crim's dad, the motto of Liverpool is "You never walk alone." So if you want to come and join the EPL champions,
Crim's dad. If you want to roll with winners, listen. I know because you watched the Knicks, it's a little tough for you, and winning has been a while since y'all won a championship. But if you want to watch world football and roll with winners, you, of course, roll with the greatest club in the history of world football, the 15-time Champions League champions, Real Madrid. Holla Madrid.
Guys, doesn't he sound like a Celtics fan to you? Doesn't that sound like a Celtics fan? That sounds exactly like a Celtics fan.
Gerard is probably the most not a Celtics fan person in my life.
Except he's not. That's what's funny. Except he's not.
But I can appreciate that they are an excellent squad, man. They're good. You know what, guys? I know we got to wrap, but I've been really impressed with Cleveland this year. Like really. I mean, I know it's easy to say they got top record or whatever, but they Manchester United, man, get out of here with that nonsense. that garbage squad. Yo, man, you about to get relegated one of these days. Keep messing around the way they do.
That'll bring me joy.
I know it will. Shout out to Kenny Atkinson, a guy we know, of course, coached Brooklyn real well, like been known as a development coach, but he learned something when he was at Golden State, right? And he has infused that team with an offensive ability. He rehabilitated. Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? The guard next to Mitchell,
Darius Garland,
who had a real down year last year. Darius really turned it around. Like, kudos on them. Now, I ain't saying they win a championship, but
they can.
Listen, they're going to at least the conference finals. If you ask me,
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, what happens against the Celtics? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I don't know either.
I'm just very, very impressed with this team. And look, Knicks fans, listen, this is what, year 5 in a row? You making the playoffs? 4 or 5?
Four in a row making the playoffs.
Yo, man.
4 and 5 years.
4 and 5 years.
5 years.
Oh,
3 in a row. 4 and 5.
3 in a row. 4 and 5 years. Listen, man, this is a squad that y'all had a rough period. You're in good times right now. Be happy.
I think the Knicks fans should enjoy it more. I agree with you. I'm gonna bring up one before we let you go, Gerard.
It's hard to enjoy it when you have like real expectations. Is the problem?
Of course, but that's the beauty of fandom, right? This is
the highest.
But would you rather be with no expectations?
Correct. I'd rather have expectations.
Some people would for mental health reasons.
Guys, go touch grass, man. All right, but go touch grass. Don't let this team's wins and losses decide your mental health. And come on, man, really, go outside and touch grass.
Before you run, Gerard, I wanted to because Stacks here.
I got all night, man. Let's go.
Stacks here had said we don't have all night, but Stacks here in the chat said, Dex, can we be honest? Why is Landry Shamet on the roster? I understand Leon Tibbs, love his work ethic, but the eye test and the advanced stats prove that he is not good. I mean, here's what I will say. Stacks, you are not wrong.
You ain't wrong.
Shamet's not been good. He's not shot the ball well. He's had a couple games here and there.
That's the problem, Dex.
And that's his calling card. He ain't doing
nothing worse in the NBA than a shooter not making shots.
Right. And right now, he does not look like an NBA rotation player, if I'm being completely honest in how he's looked.
Fact. This is his worst season by advanced stats. Worst. He is in the, let me check real quick. He is in the, oh my God, the 6th percentile in total EPM. 6th percentile is not good, folks.
Not good.
This is the type of season for someone like Landry Shamet who's been around. This is the type of season that gets you in Europe or Australia.
Brian ain't wrong. He might find himself in Turkey. He's messing around.
Oh, this was Last Chance. What's the show? Last Chance U. This was Last Chance NBA for this man right here. And listen, I'm not saying that to shade Landry Shamet because I like the signing when they made it. He injured his shoulder. He was having a good preseason. Injured the shoulder. He came back. Does he give effort? Yes, but effort ain't gonna cut it, right? I understand that we're in the business of trying to win here. And listen, I kind of don't disagree with Mr. Dorkosaurus Rex here, who said Pacome Dadier can't be worse than Shamet.
Let me see what Pacome Dadier's numbers look like.
Well, he doesn't get minutes, so ain't gonna be much numbers for you to see.
Let's see. Actually. Oh, they're about the season the 8th percentile. Ooh, so he ain't worse. He's
that's
slightly
that's
better.
a problem for Landry Shamet.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, that's a problem for Landry Shamet.
Because Dadier barely plays.
For Landry Shamet because Pacome Dadier is not getting minutes. So that what I'm saying, Pacome Dadier with limited minutes being in the 8th percentile is much different than Landry Shamet with the minutes he gets being in the 6th percentile.
Correct. Yeah.
So listen, I guess we can wrap on this. We came to a point in the show where somebody asked me about Landry Shamet. That tells you about the Knicks' issues on the bench.
Yeah, man.
We are talking about replacing
Landry
Shamet, guys.
With TJ Warren, by the way.
And what
how's TJ Warren? 40?
He's not that old.
His knees might be, to be fair. And then Kevin McCullough Jr., like, this is what the G League comment.
31. All right.
I just can't. The Knicks.
My bad. I said he was old.
Knicks fans, you have who you have. This is your team.
I will repeat what I've said all year. I've said it from the jump. I said it's more likely when the Knicks tweak things with this team next season and improve the depth on the bench that they're better next year than they are this year. This was year one, major changes. 3/5 of the starting lineup was changed. Everybody thought, not everybody, some people thought they were just going to come and automatically be in contender status. They're outside that. They're probably knocking on the door of it. And for year one of this team that they change around, that's fine.
I will say this, as I've said, this is Dexter offline. Knicks fans, you're getting to that stage where it's going to get a little dicey here in the next couple of years, insofar as your best players are all 30 years of age and older. And you have a team in Cleveland that's younger, right? Donovan Mitchell's under 30. Evan Mobley's 23. I mean, that's a young team, okay? Detroit, young team. Indiana, younger team. Orlando, young team, right? Like Boston is younger than you, right? Like your window for whatever you want to do, I don't know how long it's going to be open. So next year, I hope the Knicks do a good job of getting competent rotation players that they actually play. Right? It's one thing to get the players. You have to actually play them.
This is fair.
Right? Like develop and play them. And if you do that, then you got a real shot, I think, if this team could get to a conference finals. And maybe if things break right, who knows? But if you keep doing what you're doing, I don't think the window's going to be open long enough. And there's too many other good teams around. And then there's always that random team that comes out of nowhere that, all of a sudden you're like, where'd they come from?
Well, here's the thing. What if Detroit makes another leap? Like, Cade is really good.
They very well could.
Else, like that.
That's Thompson is so
that's the
good.
thing. Like, I do think the Knicks will be at a minimum deeper next year, but like Boston is not blowing that team up yet. Mm-hmm. They might have to for contractual, like financial reasons at some point, but that's not till 3 years away. Cleveland could keep their core together. Mm-hmm. The Knicks, I think the window probably is like a 2-3 year window.
Yeah,
until the money gets very complicated. Particularly with
Dex said that all their contracts are lined up, which I love.
Yes. Yeah.
And by the way, if I'm the Knicks GM, ain't nobody getting an extension. Not a soul. I'm not. None of you are getting no. Once those deals run, we'll see where we at. And we'll go from there.
The only person they could extend to stay in the timeline if they added 2 years to Bridges this offseason, that would still keep him in the timeline.
Okay.
Or Mitchell Robinson. If you're really feeling.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. Yeah. That is everybody. That is Jarod Hector. Please check out his work on TrueHoop if you enjoyed this. Jarod, we got to get you back in the playoffs to kick it with us because I think some of the fans enjoyed the discussion. So we definitely got to have you back in the playoffs and the offseason because that's where it's going to be fun. In the offseason.
Listen, man, y'all gonna be getting moves and getting players, and I'll be like, he ain't gonna play, so it don't matter. But listen, honestly, the draft, guys, is fertile and it's not about who's gonna be the next superstar. No, man, dudes who can play. There's plenty of guys who can play. Tibbs gotta just trust them and give them an opportunity. When they make one mistake, you can't bury them on the bench forever. Like that's how they learn, my guy.
He's got to find the guys he can trust, and he has developed like Emmanuel Quickly you saw with him, like you saw, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce. There are examples of him doing this. Mm-hmm. Can you play some of the young guys earlier to the point that East Blue Drew brought up earlier that we agree with? We'll see. We'll see how the Knicks evolve. That's Jarod Hector. Again, check out his work with TrueHoop. Jarod, appreciate you, bro.
Always good to be with you guys.
Yes, sir. We will catch you soon. Check out his work on TrueHoop. Like I said, that's a great site for everybody. If you love hoops, TrueHoop is one of the best in terms of breaking it down, talking about a lot of the nuance in sports. And yeah, Gerard, as we said, Gerard and I, me and Bryan, we go back. These are kind of like how our conversations are on the phone or in person anyway. So if y'all thought we were being silly, it's because this is what we're going to do. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people in the chat who were like Crim's dad hating on the football, the real football out here, Crim's dad. But we appreciate you.
I'll report back from the Sevilla Derby and let you know how that is, Crib's dad.
You got to send me pictures and video when you're over there, because so I was supposed to be. It's funny because we would have been gone at the same time. I was supposed to be in England, and I had a trip I had to cancel, and I was going to be at Liverpool West Ham at Anfield. But I'm not going to do this. So now my trip to Anfield is going to be next season. So I've still never seen a Premier League game in person.
But I got this so far in advance. I didn't even know they were playing their rival. Like it was before the schedule came out.
The atmosphere is gonna be dope, man. Atmosphere is gonna be dope. It's gonna be a good one. We got to get out of here soon, so we always end with real or not. Got a couple of good ones here for you, and I want to hear what the fans think about this. Despite what we talked about with Tyler Kolek, right? We talked about the fact that we saw some of his defensive limitations yesterday, which, again, he's a rookie playing against NBA offense. It's not easy. Should Tyler Kolek stay in the rotation moving forward? And I don't even know how else that is going, right? Like, even if we're talking about when Jalen Brunson comes back, should Tyler Kolek stay in this rotation moving forward? What do you say, Brian?
As long as Jalen Brunson is out, I say yes. When Jalen Brunson comes back, I don't think you play Tyler Kolek in like the playoff rotation, right? But let him get this experience now, because ultimately you want him to be your backup point guard next year. Like, you want him to win that job. So this stretch is going to help. He's clearly a really good playmaker. The shot has to come. He was a pretty good shooter in college. He was those last couple of years at least. I think he stays in the rotation as long as they're shorthanded. But Deuce is back. Jalen Brunson's out. Jalen Brunson's back. Then no, you can go back to your regularly scheduled rotation.
And I will add that I do think for him, Brian, some of this experience that he's getting, even though it's late in the season, I don't think it changes much. I agree with Gerard on that. I do think some of this experience can be good for him, even though he will find situations where he's going to get hunted. But I do think him getting these minutes can bode well for him and his confidence moving forward. So, we'll see. I agree with you. Keeping the rotation when Brunson comes back, and hopefully this stuff helps his development going forward. I think we all believe he can help this team down the road.
And by the way, if you have the 3, like if you're locked into the 3 seed with a couple of games to go, start him, start Dadier. Like, who cares at that point? Just start all the young dudes. You know what I mean? Have all of them showcase themselves. And honestly, like, you could make it like a battle royal on some WWE stuff. You know what I mean? Just whoever plays the best could get the last rotation spot if they're shorthanded in the playoffs.
Hey, I like incentives, man. I like that. All right, last thing, we talked about how the Knicks have 10 games to go, right, guys? What will the Knicks record be over their last 10 games? Will they win at least 7 of their last 10 games? I think a lot of people would be happy with them winning 7 of their last 10 games. That would put them as 52 wins on the season. Here's the schedule for you, okay? At Milwaukee, Friday, tomorrow night. Home for Portland on Sunday. Tuesday, host Philadelphia. At Cleveland, at Atlanta. Home for Phoenix. Home for Boston. At Detroit. Could be a pretty interesting game there. Home for Cleveland. At Brooklyn, which is basically another home game. Yeah. Can they win 7 of those 10? What do you say?
So you have 5 at home and 5 on the road.
Yep.
You also have the tricky situation where the last couple of games, you don't know what they mean. There's also a Cleveland game that matters and a Boston game that's likely going to matter. Likely. The Boston game, like, they might be locked into 2 by that point, because Boston will have 4 games left. So it's entirely possible that Boston's locked into 2 by the time they played. So that's tricky also. But Boston could also, like, they're deep enough to beat you shorthanded. Like, that's the other thing about it. To beat anyone shorthanded. 7-3, I think 6-4 at least. So I'm with Crimsad there. 7-3 is tough. I think they can get it. A lot of it for me actually depends on this next game against the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I mean?
I would happen to agree with that.
That's the swing game for me, kind of everything here. And also, not for nothing, but that Atlanta and in Atlanta and then Phoenix back to back. You lose that game against Atlanta, that next game home in Phoenix, even though it's home, is tough. I hate when it does that. It gives you the thumbs up. I hate that stupid. But with Atlanta, like, that's another swing one for me. They're going into that, by the way, with 2 days rest. So that's a pretty tough one there. I'm gonna lean no on the 7-3. I think 6-4 is probably more likely, right?
I think 6-4 is more likely. I think if they, still have them at 51 wins, if they win 7 out of 3, I'm going 6-4 too. I'm also concerned with like maybe that first game against Cleveland where they're playing them on the second night of the back-to-back. I don't know how that looks. Look, back-to-backs are tough. The second night is tough. I agree with East Blue Drew. There's a lot of trap games. I feel you on that. I feel
three back-to-backs, by the way. 3.
Yeah. The Knicks, going back to 2 games ago, when I was in the locker room the other day, we talked to some of the guys about this, how in their last 12 games, they have 4 back-to-backs. These last 2 games was the first set of those. They still have 3 more, which is very challenging to end the season. The Knicks have I don't want to get this wrong. Actually, let me look at my notes so I have it. I had my notes.
And while you say that, I want to point out to the people, 3 back-to-backs, all of them with travel in between. Because April 1st, they're at home at the Garden against Philly. Then they go to Cleveland for a game against Cleveland the next day. And then you're into another back-to-back later that week on the 5th and 6th that weekend. You're in Atlanta, and then you're back in New York City to play Phoenix the day after. And then the next week, like not even a week from there exactly, April 10th, you're in Detroit, and then you're back home to play Cleveland. So these are flights and things of that nature, like all the travel. There's going to be a lot of times where, they'll be getting into a city very, very early in the morning, very, very late at night, however you want to word it.
Yeah. What I was looking at was the Knicks. This was with 10 games to go. According to Tankathon, they have the 7th toughest remaining schedule in the NBA. So considering that, if they can get to 6-4, like we're saying, that's it. Listen, I think it's better, and I see Desmond Drew in here said Tibbs got to rest these guys. Hey, the more games they can win on the front end of these 10 games, the quicker they can lock up the 3 seed and then get to the point that you're talking about and resting these guys, right? which is why the point that you were making about the Grimes about to kill us. He hates Tibbs. He does. He's not a fan of Tom Thibodeau, but I think the point is, can you get some of these wins on the front end, right? That can help you to lock it up, because if you can rest these guys, it'll be huge. So that's what your point that you were making, Brian, about the Milwaukee game being a swing game, not playing with your food on Sunday against Portland. These couple of games are obviously not playing around with Philadelphia, even though Grimes might try to come in the Garden and kill Tibbs. I don't think Grimes hates Tibbs like that, because Tibbs played Grimes and gave him a lot of opportunities to play.
Motivation still, and also he's playing for a contract.
He's playing for a contract. He's been hungry. He's been shooting. But
that's the type of dude that Sean Marks from the Nets might be like, here's 4 for 80. Do something about it, Daryl Morey. And then Philly's like, oh God, we gotta match this.
That'd be a good sign for the Nets, though. That'd be a good sign for
4 for 80 sounds crazy, but I've seen Sean Marks do this with restricted free agents before.
Yeah. We've seen it before. But listen, if the Knicks take care of the business against the teams they're supposed to, because they're 3 up on the 3rd spot, they have the tiebreaker over Indiana. This is assuming we're just talking about Indiana being behind them. They got to take care of business. These next couple of games, I think, are actually really important. We probably haven't talked enough about that. Milwaukee, Portland, and the Sixers. Get yourself a nice little 3-game winning streak. Get up to 48 wins. You see, obviously, you beat the Bucks. That helps. See what the Pacers do. And, that's it. Don't play with your food. I think that's really it. Don't play with your food, because there's some trap games, like East Blue Drew said here. There's definitely some trap games in there if you play around with your food. So that's it. That's it. That's it for me. I think it'll be an interesting weekend. We'll see what the Knicks do in Milwaukee on Friday night. We got another good episode of New York Got Game coming up on Monday. Also, we have some news dropping tomorrow here at New York Post Sports. We have a major exclusive interview that I did that will be dropping on Saturday. I think the Knicks fans will really like this one. It should be a good one. And then we have the episode coming next week. So we're getting ready for playoff time. Brian is going on vacay, so he will not be with us next week.
Pre-playoff reset,
reset,
be locked and loaded. After that.
I encourage y'all, if y'all can reset, because I'm gonna take some time to reset, because I'm not trying to be stressed out by this. Y'all shouldn't be either. So yeah, we'll still be back next week. We'll do another show next week. I'll be solo. We'll probably have a guest. to come on and talk with me too. So we'll do that. I appreciate everybody. Seriously, everybody. There's a lot of good engagement in the chat tonight. We appreciate y'all.
Word.
Desmond Drew, shout out East Blue Drew, Crim's dad. Who else was up in here tonight that I forgot about? That was really active. I don't want to leave anybody out. Oh, Stacks came in with some good questions as well too. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. Dorkosaurus, not calling you a dork, my guy. But yeah, you guys were really active and had a lot of good questions and a lot of good comments, and we appreciate that. Keen Sauce, as usual, always is checking in. Appreciate you. So as usual, if you like this episode, please share it. Hit that like button for us. Subscribe to the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. We appreciate all that. Robert Rivera, you too, checking in. We appreciate you. So and keep coming back. Just keep supporting the weekly show. Keep supporting the weekly live show. We'll be back. We'll see Bryan when he gets back from vacation, and he's going to watch some football, some real football, which is good, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully everybody has themselves a lovely weekend. See if the Knicks can win some games. We'll be back next week. Appreciate all y'all. For our great producer, we also have to give love. Jeff Stansbury, who does a fantastic job making this live show look good. We appreciate him. I'm Dexter Henry. He's Bryan Fonseca, and we will see you next week on New York Got Game, Knicks Weekly Live. Peace, y'all.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.